I think it's surrendering to that, man. You mentioned the fight between higher self and lower self, and what I kind of a visual that kind of came to me is I see it as the higher self, just the lower self going at it and resisting and fighting and struggling and throwing punches, and the higher self is just there taking it and trying to hug, not trying to just hugging and
Yeah,
saying like,
yeah.
you know, I love you all the same. You can fight, but
Mm.
I'm not trying to fight you. I'm here to embrace you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's surrendering to that. Our higher self is not going to be disappointed in us in any time. Our higher self doesn't withhold love.
Mm,
Now we might experience a sense of disappointment because that might be what we need at the time to kind of step
mm,
up, right? Sometimes your higher
yeah.
self will give it to you in the will always give it to you in the way that you need to, that you'll best receive it. And that might be like a kick in the ass at times.
Welcome to the Better Man Podcast with Ivan and Suman.
All right, everybody, we're back. I'm about to set the intention for the rest of this podcast, the rest of the day, the rest of his life. And if you don't like this intention, well then you're not going to ascend. Okay. The intention of the day is I am one, you are one, we are all one. You guys can repeat it out loud.
Mm.
Repeat after me. I am one,
I am one.
you are one,
You are one.
you are me,
You are me.
Me.
I am all.
I am all.
am all.
We are one.
We're one.
Go on.
I feel you.
Oneness. Okay. So where should we continue from here?
Yeah, right before our little break, I was talking to Bryan about flow and how there's this scientific peak performance side to it, but then there's also this spiritual higher purpose side to it. And he was telling me all about this course where he was talking about activating flow in one of the lectures. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. So yeah, tell me a little bit about flow and activating flow and yeah, what that means to you personally.
Mm-hmm. So I'll start with saying that activating flow can also be described as allowing flow. I mean, that's there again, right? Both sides of it. There's activating it, there's allowing it. Both, of course, the same thing. It's surrendering to our truest and highest nature, which are ultimately one. Our true nature is our highest nature, and it's learning to release all that impedes the flow of that expression
the
of self.
additives and preservatives and the labels. Yes.
Exactly. And that's why I like saying allowing, because you don't make flow happen. You don't need to try to
manipulate it. yeah, exactly.
Flow is something that you let happen, and that's the message right there that will allow flow to take you. It's in releasing resistance, releasing tension, releasing that which suppresses in us the lighter, more natural, more free feeling. And if we allow ourselves that feeling, then that will move us naturally into our gifts, into serving and being our highest expression of self.
So if it's not working out, whatever you're doing right now, if it's not working out, stop trying. Stop trying.
Yeah.
That's it.
Honestly. Stop trying for a moment and see what happens.
Mm.
I like
Yeah,
that.
whenever we resist, we persist, right?
You know,
I think
it's definitely like a battle. It definitely feels like a battle between your lower self and your higher self, like competing for the ego. You know what I mean? In my definition, the ego is like conscious and unconscious, right? And the ego just is like the center point for like the personality. Let's just say the personality of somebody. Ego to me just means like personality, right? So it's like we could be having like a high vibrational person, right, or a low vibrational person. But even within each person, the higher self and lower self is like tugging, right? At least that's how it's been for me even. And I've had to like the other day I tapped into my past self, my past life in Atlantis, right? While I was doing a meditation for my family, and what happened was like there was like it had to like fight in order to like encompass like my as I was embodying it energetically, I could feel it sort of like gobbling up the other energy, right? And the other energy was like trying to fight, and it was like it got like really tiny, and it was like it was still trying to like be there. It was still trying to be there. That lower self was still trying to be there, but then I was just like destroy it, and then just the
surrender.
the higher self just like crushed the lower self, and then I was like
Super Saiyan.
yeah.
Awesome, man.
I think it's surrendering to that, man. You mentioned the fight between higher self and lower self, and what I kind of a visual that kind of came to me is I see it as the higher self, just the lower self going at it and resisting and fighting and struggling and throwing punches, and the higher self is just there taking it and trying to hug, not trying to just hugging and saying like, you know, I love you all the same. You can fight, but I'm not trying to fight you. I'm here to embrace you. So it's surrendering to that. Our higher self is not going to be disappointed in us in any time. Our higher self doesn't withhold love. Now we might experience a sense of disappointment because that might be what we need at the time to kind of step up, right? Sometimes your higher self will give it to you will always give it to you in the way that you need to, that you'll best receive it. And that might be like a kick in the ass at times. But I mean, our higher self isn't judging ourselves for mistakes. Our higher self doesn't perceive of mistakes. They're not, we're not seeing anything we're doing as being wrong or not enough.
Yo, you brought up something really interesting, right? And I think a lot of people are actually going to relate to this, right? How do you tell the difference between when it's your higher self giving you a kick in the ass and when it's your lower self giving you a kick in the ass?
Trying to tell the difference, sitting there in contemplation of, is this my higher self or is this ego, will probably actually get in the way of being able to discern. Because again, it's the effort, that's just that narrative of around that, those are all just going to muddy up the signal even more. Being in that place of trying to figure it out, right? So it's you have to let go of trying again, figuring it out, trying to think up the answers. And if you're in a space where you're having a challenge discerning, then the best thing for you to do in that space is to sit still and be quiet and find that presence again. Because I promise you, when you come back into that state, there's no questioning. There's no questioning what's the right or wrong move, what's coming from your higher self, what's in alignment. A sense of knowing naturally emerges when we find our sense of centeredness and presence.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so for me personally, I think that the way I've been able to differentiate is that I've noticed that when my higher self is steering the wheel, my higher self is speaking to me more in like symbols and feelings, and it's like sort of this trusting. Whereas if it's my lower self or my ego or whatever, it feels a lot more like trying to categorize things and like, figuring out the storyline of who I am and why this means so much to me. And, that kind
I
of.
said our higher self speaks the language of vibration.
Yes.
It really comes back to, as simple as it might sound, it really comes back to moving into the better feeling. Rather than trying to figure out the right or wrong path, feel, and feel into the right path.
Feel into the right path.
Sometimes I feel like, well, actually, I don't, it's more so like an understanding that we should take the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes taking the path of least resistance is going into that sadness, is going into that anger, is going into that pain, even though it's not what we would classify as the better feeling. In this scenario, it would be the better feeling, right? Because I think many times we're avoiding it, we're genuinely just trying to avoid it. When the answers are in there, the answers are literally in there. So just go into, like you said earlier, your feelings are a compass, right? They're not good, they're not bad. They're just, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So try to figure out, like, where did you go wrong?
Yeah. Another way maybe to phrase it is allow the lighter feeling, right? And sometimes allowing the lighter feeling means, again, like you say, being with something that might not feel good and accepting it for what it is rather than trying to fight it, because that creates greater resistance and tension. And allowing very often it always entails acceptance. And what you'll find is that's going to make you feel better, right? So you're processing it. So that's going to get the energy flowing, and you're going to feel lighter and lighter if you set that intention to allow the lighter feeling.
Okay. By lighter, well, what do you mean by lighter? Like in terms of the way that the heaviness that it feels?
Yeah, I mean, emotions are in the body, right? So you can bring awareness to the sensation of an emotion, in the energy of your energetic being. So, in that circumstance of feeling something that might not feel so good, the best thing you can do is be with that feeling, bringing awareness to what that feels like in the body, and that awareness in itself allows for this sense of lightness to kind of come through. So it transmutes it, that heaviness, that stickiness, into something that feels lighter.
Yeah. So what I'm realizing is it's like a mixture of using your brain and using your heart, or using by heart you could just say feelings, right? Where it's like, I'm gonna feel whatever it is I'm feeling, but my focus is almost not even gonna be on this feeling, right? My feeling is on my feeling, right? But my attention is on my values. My brain is thinking. My brain is my logical side is thinking about what are my values as I'm feeling, right? So that you can align your thoughts with the feeling and they merge together.
Exactly.
You say,
yeah, like Heart Math Institute, they're like, even scientists are starting to look at this kind of idea of coherence, right? And the brain.
On point. That's exactly what I was just thinking about. Keep going, though.
What is
literally
that?
So basically, there's a type of vibration that is very synchronized, like there's a rhythm to it. And then there's certain vibrations that are very scattered and incoherent. So in a person who has a brain and heart coherence or a connection, they're going to notice a similar wavelength of the heart and a similar wavelength of the brain or the mind. So yeah. What do you know about that, Bryan? As we're both the same thought, like yeah.
And I love how this is going to unfold, because you just brought to it the scientific perspective to it, because there very much is one, and there's a lot of evidence. I know Joe Dispenza is actually another really, really good guy to look at if you want to get into the science of, you know, brainwave activity and the electrical signals within the heart, seen and how they shift in different states of being. Now, what I'm going to do here is bring the more experiential side of that, right? What we're describing here is coherence between the brain and the heart, meaning it's in alignment, right? It's being in alignment with how you're thinking and how you're feeling. Your thinking is feeling good, and your feeling good is leading into positive, expansive, purposeful thinking, right? And that's what coherence is all about. So it's not one or the other. It's not just being totally only focused on the feeling state. It's bringing the mind and the body together, also described as the consciousness and the conscious and the subconscious, the masculine and the feminine. When those two things unite and integrate and become coherent with one another, that's when we're activated.
Yeah, it's awesome because there's a lot of like, you know, now there's a lot of research into the quantum as well, and like actually, yeah, my mom was telling me this. This is interesting. We were having this conversation, interesting enough. In the quantum field, like you have point A and point B. If you enter the quantum, you can fold point B into point A, so that it's almost like a sheet of like cloth, right? If you think of it like a sheet of cloth, so you can fold that sheet of cloth to get the results as you have a higher vibration. So yeah.
What does that even mean, dude? What it like what was the effect of that? What is the effect of folding it and putting them side by side?
So in linear time, right, we have point A, point B. We're trying to sort of walk or speed up to get there. But if you enter this state of consciousness, which is like theta waves or like alpha waves, right? You can sort of, you are now all, right? So you are everybody, you are everything, you are all. So from that space of the quantum, it's sort of like a portal, right? You enter the portal, and then you can sort of, if you imagine the quantum like just waves, like vibrations, you can fold like point B to point A, like a piece of cloth.
You can just do that.
Yeah, you merge.
Instant manifestation.
That's a manifestation.
Yeah, totally. I sort of pictured it like if you're flying, right? And you're like, and you would take the ocean and you would make it like a lake, and you just fly over the lake, and then you get to the other side and you just expand it again.
Love the visuals.
That's really
it works.
Like,
I didn't know that. Yo, I think we're actually coming to like an hour, somewhere around an hour now, right? Before we close out, right, we're gonna continue. How can they get in contact with you, and why would they get in contact with you?
Let's start with why. If you're looking to connect, I am too. Nothing brings me a greater sense of fulfillment and joy than connecting with an individual that I feel a sense of resonance with. So if anyone's hearing this and they just want to connect, they feel called to connect, it doesn't have to be for any particular reason. That follow that feeling, that says something, that means something, let's make it happen. But I mean, I can speak to what I'm putting out there and what what I seek to share and offer, and if anyone again feels in alignment with receiving any of that, that's another thing that we can speak about. Best place to find me, actually, even before I get into that, again, what I'm here to do is to co-create a better world. I believe that it's in us coming together in a united purpose that we're able to create not only for ourselves, but as a collective, a grander experience of reality, surrendering to our highest purpose, surrendering to expanding into oneness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the path to the most fulfilling, joyous experience available to us. And so we're here to serve, and the way in which I serve is supporting people in aligning with their purpose, the purpose that they came to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So
Business-wise,
right now,
right? That's what it is. You help spiritual business owners reach it to more people through business and get paid what they deserve.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll actually say that the emphasis on business has taken a backseat. I'm working with a lot of people these days that don't own businesses. Now, a lot of them go down the path of, starting to want to offer something that they're asking for an energy exchange in the form of money in return for. But I'm no longer focused on only working with people that have a business or are thinking about entrepreneurship, because I think where we're going with this is the way in which we receive and manifest isn't going to be restricted to financial money. Like we can create a reality. The way in which we create the realities that we create goes beyond needing to have money to make it happen. Now, don't get me wrong, where we're currently as a collective consciousness, definitely bringing in an income is going to support you in creating and sustaining the purpose that you've chosen to live out. But anyways, not to go off on a tangent, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's looking to create a business or is thinking in terms of business. What it's really about for me is people that want to serve the purpose of collective ascension.
Nice. What about that PDF? You said you have a PDF. Do you think you can give that out to our listeners if they reach out to you?
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let me actually give a little bit more detail as to the what I'm putting out there, and then it'll kind of fit into what that actually is.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is bringing together tribe into a program that we're calling the Ascend Academy. This has been a space where I've been providing my guidance and mentorship in a 101 setting for the last couple of years. But just recently now, what we started to put together is more of a group sort of setting where we're coming together in more of a mastermind environment where people are learning from each other, and it's not just me and the client. It's more about Lightworkers banding together to co-create, to collaborate, and to learn from one another. Now, one of the things that someone enrolls in and gets started when they enter the academy is the activation process. And now that's a program that everyone that comes into the academy takes as a initiation of activating in themselves their higher consciousness and their higher purpose, so that we're all on that kind of same vibration, that same space, who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. The worksheet, the PDF that Sim talked about was a part of my old program. Now the activation process, again, there's the updated version. That's one of the steps within the activation process. So it's actually pretty cool to think that I'm definitely down to share that step openly at no cost, that I am willing to give up for free.
Nice. I fuck with it. Do you think this is like the power from Mudra? Like, I just thought about this right now.
I feel the power.
It's like I'm connecting it with my third eye, and like I'm connecting it with my eyes.
Yeah,
I've got the
man.
power. I'm gonna give that a shot. All right.
Awesome.
Your pinky, they gotta be straight. They gotta be straight. Your pinkies.
Pinkies.
Mm.
This is gonna be the YouTube trailer.
Yo,
We're gonna get a thumbnail.
yo, for real. We should have just have like, I'm gonna screenshot all of us doing this, and there's gonna be like 3 faces.
There's the thumbnail.
Like, so how should we close off? You know.
Well, let me just throw in the link for anyone that's trying to connect. Best place would be, well, I have my website, so that's togetherweascend.com, and I'm pretty active on Facebook. So let's say togetherweascend.com/Facebook. I'll get that. No, that doesn't make sense. Let's just say facebook.com/Bryan with the Y, M Henry 23. That's not even correct. Backtrack.
You know what? There's gonna be a link. You know what? There's gonna be a link in the description below.
Yeah.
That's the fast.
Go to the blog, the website. You'll find everything there.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, Bryan.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this. May the flow be with you. And yeah, peace out, guys.
Yo,
thanks for watching.
Much love, guys.
You think we should finish off with a prayer? We finish it off with a prayer.
All right, if you want to lead it, sure.
I mean, I was gonna ask Bryan to lead it.
Sure. I'm off for it. I like bringing through the activations. That's one of my things.
Okay.
Awesome.
I will take a moment though to find stillness. Feel into your source. Feel into who and what you are. Allow yourself to be flooded with all that is being offered to you. Allow yourself the love that is here for you. Allow yourself to express the divinity and power within you. For you are one. You are all. And you are infinite. Gratitude to you all. Gratitude to the one that encompasses each and every one of us, that connects us all. There's great love for you here. Thanks, guys. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, to connect with you all. It was a lot of fun. Should do it again sometime.
Absolutely, man. That was awesome. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.
Likewise. Take care, bros.
Have a baller day.
If you would like to contact Sumed for peak performance coaching, go to @FlowZone Academy on Instagram. That's FLOZONE Academy. If you would like to connect to your higher self, contact Ivan at odd.resilience. That's ODD.resilience. Also, make sure you follow the Better Man podcast on Instagram. See you next time.